Let me start this talk by sharing with you one myth and one reality. Did you, like me and several others, grow up listening to this one sentence? If you don't study well, you will never get a job. From home to school to college to everywhere, if you don't study well, you will not get a job is something that rings in all our ears all the time as we are growing up. Now let me come to a reality. The reality is that we believe that only if we study well, we can get a job and there is no alternative to a job. And now let me come to the myth. We also grew up believing that there is this special chromosome we should have, or that DNA that some people have to make you an entrepreneur. Well, there is no such thing and there is no such chromosome, because if you look at the history of a lot of entrepreneurs, it is just an entrepreneurial mindset. So this comes to the next question that I want to answer. What does it take to be an entrepreneur? So if I put my thoughts together and look at the journey of an entrepreneur, I think the starting point would be a purpose, a mission, a goal, a passion that I want to take forward as an entrepreneur. This is, I think, the starting point that every budding entrepreneur starts with. He does have a strong mission and purpose in life that he wants to take forward. So what then is an entrepreneurial mindset? When we look at an entrepreneur's mind, we know it's much more than money. It's the mission that drives him. Having said this, what then comes next? I think it is the ability of an entrepreneur to identify where the opportunities are, where the market throws an opportunity, where there are gaps in the market, where he can look at the future and what opportunities the future throws at him. That ability is the starting point of getting into an entrepreneurial activity. So having a sense of purpose and identifying opportunity, he should be then ready to live an abnormal life. What do I mean by saying an abnormal life? What I mean is that for an entrepreneur, he needs to first get off his comfort zone. So the entrepreneur needs to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because being comfortable and in his comfort zone won't get him anywhere. Now, having said that, what is the next thing that an entrepreneur really needs to have? I think there would be 4 things which are critical, and the first being critical thinking. Having that mindset of evaluating, analyzing, and utilizing that information to make a business or to make a venture out of it would be most important in his journey to become an entrepreneur. The second thing would be a method to be able to solve problems. So a problem solving skills that an entrepreneur will need in his journey. Obviously, when he creates a product or a service or he creates a business, he needs to be very, very creative. And the fourth thing here would be a very good ability to be able to communicate with his employees, with his customers, with his investors, with his all the audience that he actually meets. He needs to communicate with clarity his passion, his mission that he is taking forward. So, other than having critical thinking, problem solving, creativity and communication as an entrepreneurial mindset, an entrepreneur also needs to be highly flexible and adaptable. He needs this flexibility and adaptability to observe, orient, decide, and then act on it. And once he does it consistently, only then can he grow and develop his business. So therefore, an entrepreneur has to have a laser focus and almost an obsession to do what he's doing. And for that, he needs to be doing his homework and he needs to analyze. What does he need to analyze? Why does he need these analytical skills? He needs this because he needs to understand and analyze his market, his industry, his customer, his investor, his supplier. He needs to scan the environment. And so an obsession, laser focused mind is required to be a successful entrepreneur. We need to understand that business is about people. It is people that make a business. So an entrepreneur has to be a team builder. He has to be able to get people onboarded, understand their potential, empathize with the team, give them the best that they can get from him and give them the best. So therefore, he has to be a team builder and a people's man. One thing that is very, very important for an entrepreneur is to realize that failure is not something that can stop him, because he should be ready to fail and fail wisely, because every failure that he undergoes is a kind of a certification, a milestone that he is passing by to achieve success. Failure is that rock bottom that gives him a foundation on which he grows his success. So he accepts and should accept failure wisely and learn lessons from them to get closer to his destination. Another thing which aspiring entrepreneurs need to understand about entrepreneurship is that success is not an overnight game. Success as an entrepreneur comes after a lot of perseverance and grit and patience to be able to hold on your mission, your purpose in life. The minute an entrepreneur realizes or feels that he cannot sustain, that's the point where he loses out. An entrepreneur is also one who not just creates opportunities for himself, but he also creates opportunities for others. That is where, through people, he creates a reputation for himself. That is where he creates a brand for himself. And that brand comes back to him, that reputation comes back to him in the form of increasing and furthering his business. So, if I have to consolidate all this, you can very well see that entrepreneurship is all about identifying opportunity, having a laser focused eye on growth. It's about being able to have grit and perseverance. It's about able to be out of your comfort zone. It's about understanding and doing research on your market. It's about being compassionate. It's about creating opportunities for others. If you can all roll this up, you would be an entrepreneur. So, if somebody tells you today that if you don't study well, you will not get a job, you should stand up and say, I don't want a job, I want to be an entrepreneur. So friends, I would like to end it with a wonderful statement by Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And an entrepreneur is one who truly should believe in the beauty of his dream.